Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of May 15th through the 21st of 2023. All right, so a lot going on astrologically here this week. We'll start with what I feel like are the most important things first, and then we'll sort of work our way out from there. So two big things. Mercury is going direct, and that's going to be on Monday. So we'll start to notice perhaps some forward movement here this week with a lot of the day-to-day activities, correspondence, mental activities, things of the Mercury nature. But this is during the balsamic phase of the lunar cycle, the ending phase, because we are going to have a new moon on Friday. And so as we do approach Friday, it is good to let the energies die down and complete and finalize the energy from this current lunar month. Now, some very important aspects taking place this week. We do have Jupiter squaring Pluto. This is a yearly event. It's only a single contact. Oftentimes we'll have three with these yearly events, but in this case just one. And it's going to be concentrated around Wednesday. So pretty much all week though, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is contacting deep and intense Pluto. So it can really bring up a lot of deep stuff inwardly and outwardly. But Jupiter does help us see the higher perspective and perhaps learn more about this energy and practice things like self-empowerment. All right, so along with this, Mars is forming a T-square with that square, which means he's going to be opposing up to Pluto. That's going to be later of the week on Saturday, so there could be some good things to reclaim some power with regarding our assertive side and taking initiative with things. Early in the week, Mars is going to be in good harmony to Neptune. The same with the Sun later in the week. And so Neptune, the planet of receptivity, going with the flow, a little more spiritual connection, is in good harmony with a lot of these events as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, May 15th. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. You will notice that a lot of the signs that I'm mentioning are different. And so if you are new, definitely check out that link down below for more information. All right, so let's go ahead and just do a quick recap. We don't have any sign changes this week. So all the planets in terms of their current placements, of course, except the moon, will be in the same placements all week. So starting with the sun has recently started to shift into Taurus since late last week. And so for the focus for the upcoming weeks, the next month plus, will be on the more self-reliant and resourceful qualities. Sun in Taurus is all about viewing life through the lens of how we can take things steadily, in a more grounded way, and again, connect to that inner and outer resourcefulness. Mercury is stationed on Monday, paused in the sky, going direct here in Aries. And so as the week does unfold, we will start to notice more and more slowly of that forward movement. But again, keep in mind that we are ending the current lunar cycle, which is definitely a more yin energy, a more ending energy, a more spiritual energy. And that's going to be the moon approaching the sun and the moon in Pisces these first really few days of the week as well. But things that maybe have been mulled over, things that were maybe more on the back burner, we will slowly start to notice those things moving forward, and that'll shape up more so after the new moon on Friday. All right, but Mercury in Aries has been really about reconnecting with our assertive side, with the side that maybe is direct with those communications, might want to be more proactive with our day-to-day activities, may want to pursue our goals, our needs, our desires, right? And so this is what is shifting there. But with Mercury direct, it's now reclaiming some of that assertiveness and moving that energy forward. So we'll likely notice as we go through the week that it's easier to connect to that side of ourselves and probably more balanced and healthy ways. Usually the Mercury retrograde will help us mull things over to connect to that side of ourselves in a more balanced and healthy way. So we'll likely notice that moving forward. All right, so that's going to be the Sun and Mercury. We do have Venus well set in Gemini now. So when it does come to those learnings and communications, they can actually be quite enjoyable. Venus is suggesting that we can connect to life and others in the way that's curious, interested, and willing to exchange, which is fantastic. Mars is now well set in Cancer. So when we are asserting ourselves, there's likely a more protective nature here. And so it's really good to connect to that side that, while being direct and assertive, is protective, is even caring and nurturing, and wants to create that safe and secure environment for ourselves and others, right? So Cancer is all about connecting more to our emotional needs and to our bodies and to our feelings. And so although Mars is not very comfortable here, and so maybe there's a bit of a challenge to assert and express that side, still it's good to set intentions to do so in this more emotion-based way with Mars and Cancer. All right, so, and again, the most important recap here is that we are ending the current lunar cycle. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this day by day. Again, Mercury will be stationed. This will be late Sunday, early Monday for most of us here. And so just a good, really first part of the week, but just the days surrounding Monday, I think it's good to just sort of pause with some things maybe that we've been working on, or maybe some things we've been dealing with, or just with our minds, sometimes taking a little bit of a break, or it's, a very good time to just maybe use it for spirituality, or a bit of meditation, or a bit of presence, because the mind is shifting direction, but it is stopped in the sky. And so we do want to align to that sometimes, instead of forcing things or trying to activate the mind when it really should be stationed or paused. Mars is in good harmony to that more spiritual planet, that more receptive planet of Neptune. So it's nice to see coming into Monday that it can be a bit easy to maybe go with the flow with life, be a bit more receptive to life, specifically when we're going about our needs, our goals, our actions. This lunar cycle, really being about Aries, has activated more of that fiery side of ourselves. And so it's nice to see that that fiery side is now in good harmony with the watery side, the receptive side, the spiritual side, a good link between the ego and the unconscious, or the physical self and the spiritual self. And so nice to see that trine going on. And it is gearing up to be a receptive few days of the week, because the moon will be in Pisces, and this will be all the way up until mid-Wednesday. And so likely themes around having a little more peace in our life and maybe connecting a little bit more with our soul there. Okay. So that's going to take us into Wednesday. Wednesday, the moon will shift into more active Aries, but again, this was the last lunar cycle. And so being in this ending phase, this is about reconnecting to that assertive, proactive, initiating side in a way that's kind of completing things, right? In a more inward way, perhaps, or even reflective way. At least it's good to do so. As we do approach Friday's new moon, again, connecting with our inner self a little bit, doing a bit of a reset, maybe some clearing, maybe externally too, completing and clearing things, and all in the context of reconnecting with that fiery side there. So there will likely be some themes around that as we approach Friday, the completion of the Aries, the Ram, the proactive, initiating sides of life. Okay, but here Wednesday is the apex of the yearly transit we've had between expansive Jupiter and deep and intense Pluto. A square here. Now, typically squares are more challenging, but Jupiter being a benefic does tend to, for us to see the more lighter side of it, or the more positive side of it, which is really good. But the square does tend towards over and under extremes. And so Jupiter expanding things can make the Pluto go to over and under extremes. So there could be that pendulum swing with the intense elements of life and death, healing, personal transformation, wounds, traumas, life itself, the deeper hidden aspects of life, power dynamics, boundaries. Okay, so all this stuff that deals with essentially reclaiming our power and how that might be internalized or externalized will tend to collectively go to over and under extremes here. So it is good to be extra aware of that side of ourself that does, of course, have personal power, but not ego power, right? Pluto tends to, especially with Jupiter, show us how our egos maybe, or our physical selves might be really holding on tightly to things, might be wanting to overly control things, maybe is afraid of losing something or our power itself. And so that's what tends towards that overcompensation. But as we become aware of that, then we can reclaim our true power, right? The core power, the part of ourself that's non-attached, that is not powerless, because having some overcompensation is usually an indication that we're feeling powerless in a situation, but rather realizing that we have the power all along, and that power can't be taken away from us. The true power, self-empowerment, right? That non-attachment, being okay with how things are in the external world or with anything else that our egos might be attached to, because we know that we're powerful enough to be safe, secure, and anchored. So reclaiming that true power, the true self's power that can never be taken away, is always a great way of working with Pluto. And this type of knowledge, wisdom, perspective around reclaiming that is likely what Jupiter's going to help us do here. Now, on a more mundane level, this could mean that it's just a good time to learn about the deeper aspects of life, the hidden truths, healing, and all this deeper stuff. And we can likely gain a lot of insight and perspective on these things. So great week for that, really all week long. The Wednesday will just be the apex, but it's such a slow-moving transit involving slow movers that it really is influencing us for the whole week there. So great to bring that sort of Jupiterian perspective into that underworld of Pluto and see how we can work with that constructively. All right, and then also here around the Wednesday, but going more into Thursday time, just to note that, again, Neptune's in good harmony this week with the planets, and so there's a bit of receptivity there that might just be a little bit available, as has already been the case that early part of the week. Now, as we start to shift into the Thursday time period, again, ending that current lunar month, we will likely start to feel the new moon energies of Friday. So Friday, again, a good day to really pause here as well and listen, right? It is a new beginning to the lunar month, and it is the lowest energy of the lunar month, arguably the most spiritual time of the lunar month, maybe the balsamic phase leading up to that. But the point here is that there is this now attunement and connection between our conscious selves and our inner selves or emotional selves or unconscious selves, which is the moon, right? Sun and moon in harmony, reconnecting. And so good to listen and see what new does arise, what new does emerge from this, and then slowly build momentum as we go into the new lunar month. I will, of course, make that separate video specifically on this new moon, so do stay tuned for that. But it is going to be in Taurus, which again is reconnecting with that resourceful side of ourself. Okay, so that's the Friday new moon. Mercury will be in good harmony with Saturn. That's already been going on actually with Mercury's station. So just a continuing good week for maybe using our minds or mental activities or communications in a bit of a productive or constructive way. Okay, it's just a bit of an opening there for that. But we could notice some things shifting around Friday with that one. All right, and then as we slowly build some of that momentum into the new lunar month, we get into the Saturday time. And by the way, all weekend the moon will be in Taurus, of course, for that new moon. So all weekend is good for that developing of our inner and outer resources there. But Friday, we do have then perhaps the challenging aspect of this T-square. So again, we do have Jupiter squaring Pluto, but we also have Mars a part of it. Mars is opposite Pluto, forming a square up to Jupiter. So the Mars opposite Pluto goes exact Saturday and Sunday. That's where the ego, Mars, our drives, our needs, our desires, is opposite the ego killer, Pluto, the transformer. Now, it's not a square, which would be definitely more challenging. It is an opposition, which does lean a little bit more towards a neutral energy, but it can go to a little bit of over and under extremes in terms of a bit of that seesaw effect. So at times we might go really far into those ego needs and our, again, desires, and then it might calibrate, but then we might go a little bit too far into being a little maybe overly non-attached or not caring. So it is this balancing act between how can we integrate that true power, the true self's power, with the physical self, with the ego, right? And so anything that, again, as we talked about earlier, is about reclaiming that power, personal transformation, being non-attached to our needs in the process can really help facilitate this opposition there. So could be a quite transformative week, and I would say quite transformative weekend. And again, by now we are slowly building momentum in the lunar cycle, so we'll notice some new energy moving forward there over the weekend. All right, and the sun is trining Pluto though, so it's nice to see that. The sun is in good harmony to this T-square, and so probably as we start to get into particularly Sunday, we might be feeling a bit of that post-transformation, or just feeling more empowered, maybe more healed from, again, reclaiming some of that stuff there. Okay, and the sun sextile Mars, that just goes without saying what we just said there. Okay, so everyone, that is the week in a nutshell. Most important two events is Mercury going direct and the new moon on Friday. So there is a forward movement slowly after the past few weeks of reflection and redoing and maybe things on the back burner, moving forward, but with the caveat that we are ending the current lunar month, and a lot of these new beginnings are going to start to shape up slowly out of Friday onwards. Okay, a yearly event, maybe we'd say there's three really important events this week actually. So Jupiter squaring Pluto. So this one is the magnification, but also higher perspective of that deeper, intense Pluto energy, which can help us transform things, empower ourselves, etc. Nice to see Neptune in good harmony this week with some of that receptivity or spirituality. That could be nice to incorporate. And yeah, coming out of that new moon, slowly building some momentum, balancing a little bit of that intense Pluto energy, but things starting to move forward into next week. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter. We do get these videos released first before YouTube and extra content not normally released on YouTube. Do sign up down below if you haven't yet. Have a great one, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.